Hey guys, welcome to today's video on the science behind why sleep and rest really matters. So if you are sick and tired of feeling exhausted, noticing that you're not in your optimal state, your brain activity is not seeming to be as sharp as it used to be, just generally feeling sluggish in your body, you want to understand why we are talking so much more recently about the importance of sleep. And if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Elika. I'm an energy optimization coach, a trusted advisor for purpose-driven leaders who want to have way more energy so that they can create a better impact in the world. So if you like the sound of that, then here is where you're going to want to subscribe so that you can stay on top of the information and insights that I share about habits and behaviors that can really help you to keep your energy, your most valuable currency, in overflow. So I want to start with explaining to you about this, not just rest, but deep sleep. And one of the main things that is happening that I realize that most people don't know that this is what is happening on a physiological level when we actually sleep. So when we sleep, the cells just beautifully in our brain actually shrink, and they allow for what is literally, it's called the glymphatic system, what is like literally a hose, a release of liquid that actually washes away any like debris. I'm really simplifying this just to make it so clear. And it just kind of like goes around and cleanses inside the brain. So if you just imagine that repair process that is happening in the brain is actually what is forming your memories, is what's actually allowing you to be able to recall things that happened to you, short term and long term. It's all part of the fact that you've allowed this process to happen every time you sleep. So now you can imagine that Alzheimer's, dementia is on the rise, and equally the amount of sleep that we get is so little for so many working professionals out there that want to achieve really big things in the world, but do it whilst depriving themselves of sleep. So gone is the day, clearly, where we say, I'll sleep when I die, or I don't need sleep. Or my favorite one for me that I hear all the time that I used to say is, oh, I'm not a morning person. And what I will say to that is nobody is a morning person if you haven't slept. But when I slowly started to tweak my sleep hygiene to get half an hour earlier, then 1 hour earlier, then it became an hour and a half earlier, till I got to the point where, honestly, some days I can get into bed at 9:30 and I'm like, wow, like this, I would be like, I was the person that used to be like, it's only 10 o'clock, let me watch a movie. Because to me, I had a couple more hours before I needed to go to bed. Now I'm the absolute opposite. Now, it's very rarely, it does happen, but it's very rarely that I stay up to, for example, watch TV. If I'm up late, it's usually because I'm out and about having dinner or at salsa late, and not because I'm choosing to watch TV versus sleep. So what came to mind then when I was laughing is Brian Johnson. I know not everybody likes him, but I really feel the heart of this guy, and he really talks about being disciplined around sleep and seeing yourself as a sleep expert. And I think he's just trying to empower people to say that you've got to take charge of yourself. No one's going to do this for you. We've all got a story about sleep, but we owe it to ourselves really to show up in the best version of ourselves, and that allowing ourselves to allow that natural repair part of our body when we sleep to happen is such a beautiful way that you can give yourself that self-care. So I also wanted to talk about the emotions, which really is another way of just saying, how do we optimize the management of our energy that's moving through us? Because emotions is just energy in motion. So emotions and hormones, you could look at these in the same way when it comes to understanding, like, really what's behind sleep and good rest. So when you don't sleep, your body cannot regulate your hormones. The neurotransmitters of the brain that actually send signals, like think about dopamine, think about serotonin, all of this powerful way that our body communicates with us is not going to happen efficiently when you're not sleeping. So when neuroscientists study the brain, what they see is people that have had less than 7 hours sleep start to do damage to their brain because the brain isn't getting the repair they do. The National Sleep Council says that adults need between 7 to 9 hours sleep, and there's a very small percentage, which some believe it's less than 5%, that are those that can manage on less sleep, and everybody thinks that they are that. Like everybody thinks, I'm the person that only needs a few hours. No, you've just not tested, you've not studied your brain, you've not seen, you've not monitored it. I've had brain scans done now for the last couple of years, and you know, it's something that, as Daniel Amen said, who studied the most brains in the world, it's the only body part where we want to improve it, but we don't even look at the brain to improve it. Like, we don't go for regular brain scans, but yet we do all want to improve our brain performance. So thinking about like your emotions and being able to regulate your emotions, being able to manage your anger, if that's what you're experiencing, your frustration, to stay calm, to feel more peace, all of these emotions cannot be regulated without good quality sleep. And we're going to add rest to that, like power naps. Now, my thing about power naps is the sleep cycle is 90 minutes long. So if you go into sleep and you want a power nap, you really want to keep it so that you're not going into that deep sleep state and then having to wake up, because then you're going to get that groggy feeling. So I love my power naps to be like 20 minutes long. So I just set an alarm for that. But to be honest, I've noticed that the more I've done it over the years, the more it's like, when I give myself that, the body just takes 10 minutes and it's good. So it's really interesting. I would love to explore myself what is the reasoning behind that, since it's become a regular practice, that then it just takes a little bit. So, but probably it's, you know, my mindset in allowing myself to have that power nap when I need to, and probably all the other things that I'm also adopting as part of that lifestyle that's maybe now needing that. I don't need the whole 20 minutes as much. So think about emotions, think about your hormones. Let's talk specifically about ghrelin and leptin. So leptin is like the hormone that tells you that you're full, and ghrelin is the hunger hormone. So when you haven't slept, for example, your ghrelin is going to go up. So you're going to feel that hunger. You're never going to have that satiated feeling. And so many of you are using willpower or the latest diets or over-exercising as a way to manage your weight, to manage how you feel in your body, and still not getting enough sleep. And so this is why I always say that sleep is actually more important than nutrition, because without sleep, then how are you going to regulate your body's ability to say, actually, you know, I've had enough, and notice and get that internal signal that the body is so beautifully designed to give you naturally that says, yeah, I've had enough, I'm good. So leptin and ghrelin are these hormones that really regulate our appetite and are so powerful. Again, we talk about, you know, the signals from our brain, the neurotransmitters from our brain. And so being aware that if you're trying to use willpower, honestly, willpower, especially for you people pleasers out there, willpower is going to go the moment that everyone's like, oh, come on, you never do this. It's just going to go, you know? So we want to really work with the hacks of our body and natural biology that is designed to know what is good for us, when it's too much, when to put the fork down. So then I want to talk about blood sugar, which again, you could talk about, you know, how the brain regulates that, and also your emotions, your hormones. When we think about your keeping a balanced blood sugar, so keeping a balanced blood sugar, sleep is one of the ways that you regulate this. And so what you want is, you don't want your body to think that it's under stress and release a lot of cortisol, a lot of stress hormone into the body. And then because of that stress, under stress, you start having emotions that you want to soothe. And then what do most people do when they soothe emotions? They eat, because that's one of the obvious ways to self-soothe, right? And so when they eat, what do they eat? Do they start thinking, oh my God, I want to soothe myself with a salad? No, they don't. They're like chocolate, ice cream, cakes, biscuits. So you can see how it's also linked to sleep, just even keeping a balanced blood sugar. And obviously when we sleep, we're creating our metabolism to actually know when it's set to this 24-hour circadian rhythm. So this 24-hour biological cycle that our hormones go to. So again, you know, sleep regulates that blood sugar by ensuring that certain things are happening at certain times. So, you know, your wake up time, which should be, you know, around sunrise. So give or take a couple of hours around that, you're going to get that sun rising and get that sun in your eyes within an hour of waking. That's going to stimulate all of those receptors in the eye and tell your brain to start shutting down some of the hormones that it no longer needs, like melatonin, that deep restorative sleep, and starts waking you up as you receive the vitamin D. Again, good sleep pattern helps this. It's going to ensure that, you know, when you sleep well at a good time at night, that you are not eating in the evenings, because when you go to sleep on time, oh, sorry, my battery just going then. When you go to sleep well on time, you will notice that you'll stop getting that temptation to go have something to eat late at night when you get a bit peckish. So this is all really helpful for blood sugar. Also related to this is autophagy. So autophagy is the process where the cells literally eat themselves, like the cannibalist process that they go through. And that's because when they're deprived of food or fuel or sugar, they go through this natural repair where they start using that energy to actually literally eat the cell itself and to recreate new cells. So, you know, those of you that love the idea of, you know, anti-aging or beauty treatments that are free, autophagy is one of that, and that we get that from fasting. And when we get good sleep, we get that natural process happening. So again, you know, so many of us want to jump to the latest trends that are in, and then you've just got this like sleep and rest that's creating this ability for the body to be youthful, to be fresh, for new cells to be regenerated. And then, you know, a big one now is autoimmune diseases, right? And so we think of all the autoimmune diseases that we can have, and there are so many right now. And I just think about, linked to autophagy, the body's ability to regenerate. If your heart forgot to beat, you would die. Your lungs forgot to expand in and out and breathe, you would die. So the body is a self-repairing system. And so with good sleep and lots of rest, we can start to help the body to regenerate. And so when we think of autoimmune diseases, a lot of my clients, they have celiac. So this is where they have a gluten intolerance to such an extreme that their body, like all autoimmune diseases, the body is like trying to protect you. And so, but it's also on attack. And so it's creating all this chronic inflammation, and then it's attacking its own itself. And so when I see things like celiac, which I've seen a lot of my clients, I definitely know I want their body to be resting and repairing. I see a lot of my clients that have insomnia or other sleep issues, staying up late, watching TV, being on the computer, on the laptop, having all of those blue stimulating lights in their eyes late at night, and then not being able to sleep as a result of it. And then knowing that they can't repair their body properly. And so then they keep on getting sick. And so they keep on getting sick because their body doesn't have the ability to regenerate when a virus comes around, when bacteria is around, which is going to be something natural as part of the human life. So I've done a video already around, you know, the things that we can do to really enhance our sleep for optimal energy. So I would definitely ask you to have a look at that before going into all the different ways. But as I've mentioned within some of these things, you know, good sleep actually sets the tone for the biological cycle that we're designed to live in, where our energy goes naturally to that cycle in a 24-hour. And for women, we have that 24 hours, and then we have a wider cycle of 28 days that regulates our hormones. So when we do these natural practices, we really get our body to optimize its energy, to do what it's designed to do. And I just want to say to you, just from a spiritual perspective, something that I've been deeply contemplating is that I believe that God actually gave us this sleep, not just for the physical body, but as I've talked about in my other videos, please see the video on the 4 layers of the energy body. But I believe that God gave us this to repair every single energetic layer of the body. So physical body, yes, we need to rest it, because every single thing needs rest, some moment of rest. But then when you think about the emotional body and the mental body, and then the exchange of energy that we have with others through the aura, the exchange of energy that we give up. And obviously when we sleep, so many of us can experience these deep dreams like states that we go into, where we go off into another alternative state, or where our dreams are sending us clear messages of something that we're experiencing in when we're conscious that we're not necessarily addressing, but it then shows up in our subconscious when we're sleeping. So, you know, I just want you to consider that maybe sleep is also a way that we plug into this quantum field when we can't do it, when we're, you know, conscious and we're moving around and we're out and about and we're like living and integrating into our day-to-day human experience. But it's interesting that we've been given this moment where our body naturally makes us deplug from the conscious, from the day-to-day human experience, and forces us to go into that subconscious. And just imagine all the reasons why that would be so important, what frequencies we're receiving when we're in that subconscious state. So I hope that's inspired you to really think about why sleep and rest is going to be so important for you, and all the little nuances that taps into. If you want to know about just living this lifestyle in a sustainable way, I would invite you to subscribe to my newsletter. I'll make sure the details are below, because that's where I just share like my energy audit that I do once a month, and I just share my lifestyle and the habits that I do day to day. So it can really help you with the integration of the knowledge that I'm giving you today. And if you feel that this is of benefit, please like it so it can be seen by so many more people who are also starting to understand, just like me and my clients, that energy is our most valuable currency. Share it with somebody that you think that would really benefit. And I'm really grateful for you watching this video today, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed creating it. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care.